Okay, this is Two Brothers Sports here with the NFL Week 8, and we got my brother out there. Looks like he's in the black hole there, Raiders fan. Not sure really what's going on with him. It must be because it's Halloween or something. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna roll with it anyway because we got to give you some predictions for the week, Halloween version. Okay, game number one. We're looking at Atlanta Falcons, and we like them -2 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, it seems, I say this week to week, but it kind of seems like a no-brainer. I think I really like Tampa Bay, but I don't like them too much without Evans and Godwin. I don't even know how. I mean, that's been their entire offense. Their defense at times has struggled and played mediocre, but really what's put them on the board is their ability to score high amounts of points with Baker Mayfield. And I mean, it seems like it's almost his entire team. And on the other hand, Atlanta Falcons are all the way. Kirk Cousins, Drake London, still has Mooney. Great. He's got Robinson and Algier. He's got Pitts. My brother was talking about. You want to talk about the tight end a little bit, Brad? Because I don't know that really. I know he's doing well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. He's doing well. What do you think about that game? Anything to add to the Atlanta Falcons Tampa Bay this year? I mean, this week 8.
No, not too much. You pretty much said it all.
Okay, well then I'll let you start off with what you think about the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Cincinnati Bengals, and we like the Eagles +2.5.
I mean, you said that Joe Burrow's out, and if Joe Burrow's out, that team is total trash. So, I mean,
Yeah, Joe Burrow has a bad list, and then Higgins is out too. We have and Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dotson, Barkley. I think he has a rib injury, but Gainwell is going to be playing. They also have Goddard out, but I really like the way the Eagles are playing. I know their defense. I'm not sure what it's ranked this week, but it's they're starting to come on too. They're starting to have a lot more balance on their team. They're looking a lot more like the team that we thought we'd see this year, and so really liking the Eagles a lot. -2.5 for sure. Oh, are they? Yeah, -2.5. Minus. Let me just check my notes here. See if the Eagles. Oh, I'm sorry. +2.5. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is either. Week to week, there might be some surprises for us. Not too sure. And then the next game, we're really liking Kansas City Chiefs, and I hate to say it, but it's against our Oakland Raiders. And I never do any kind of handicapping predictions or anything against the Raiders, but they're beyond rebuilding at this point. And Kansas City is just probably the best team in the NFL right now. There's no doubt, and we all know that's because of Mahomes. And then they're going to throw over. Then they're going to throw DeAndre Hopkins back in the mix for him too. But he's already got so deep in the receiver spot over there, and they're running back. There's nothing I don't like about the Kansas City Chiefs, even though
and
they're
then
on.
their defense. Nobody can run against them. We
Yeah,
don't have a running game. We don't have a running game, so we're going to be one-dimensional with
yeah,
the defense. The Kansas City's going to put their ears back and Minshew, he's going to be running around like Uncle Rico. It's going to
yeah. He's
be
already
pathetic.
losing. You can already see how the frustration is. You can't hardly blame him. Some of the mistakes have been his in a couple games. He's made some mistakes. He's also had some games where he's played pretty good, but it's not his fault that the Raiders collectively are playing the way they are, getting rid of Adams, struggling with the receiver spot, Myers being out. I mean, it's just a
Well, their
lot.
front line hasn't played well either.
Yeah,
You
it's a
can't
lot.
throw if
And
you don't have time.
you can't be playing like that against Kansas City. We know they're Super Bowl bound, or at least deep into the playoffs, most likely, unless something
Well,
happens.
they've lost by a lot more points to a lot worse teams, so I can't see how if Kansas City does it covered by 10, we know that it's fixed, dude. We know. It's almost impossible
It
for
seems
them
like
not to
some
win.
things. Yeah, there looks like a lot of things. It's kind of funny. This is non-related, but looking at Minnesota the other night, that was just kind of crazy. I know there was a lot of discussion about it, but that Darnold did kind of choke. I felt like once Jefferson caught that ball on his helmet and got it down to the 5 yard line, had a first down. I was pretty sure late in the game. It was like later in the third quarter, but I knew at home with Stafford, fourth quarter, and how Stafford has been when he's with the Lions, when he's over here, his ability getting Cooper Kupp back and another one of the receivers over there. I knew it was going to be tough for them if they didn't get in the end zone. And sure enough, it ended up playing out that way. And although it was legitimately a face mask in the end zone, he still waited way too long and looked like a deer, frightened deer with in the headlights. And Darnold just choked. He choked. He choked in that game when he had it on the 5-yard line. Choked again when he got in the end zone. They should have given him a flag. Would he have been able to drive with 1 minute left, 90 yards or 95 yards, and get the touchdown and get a 2-point conversion with no timeouts and win the game? Maybe. With Justin Jefferson, it's not impossible. But was that defense that I saw, the Rams were actually playing pretty good defense. Were they going to let them do that the way they were playing in that moment? I'm not talking about how they were ranked. I'm just talking about what they were doing at that moment in time. I don't think so, but we'll never know. But that was kind of an interesting thing, whether that was fixed or not. Or I know that.
Well, Kansas City's been the talk of the town. It's been coming out of like people. It's not just sports writers. Kirk Cousins talked about all kinds of star players that have had to play against Kansas City this year. We're saying Kansas City's getting all the non-calls when they're fucking mugging Atlanta in the end zone at the end of that game. And there's been other guys who've come straight out and been fined for saying it. They don't care because they're tired of Kansas City.
There's definitely calls. Yeah, there's definitely been some prima donna stuff in the NFL. We know that. Brady was that way when he was in New England. And I love Brady now that he's a partial owner of the Raiders, but but he was a prima donna. There's been some prima donnas, and they, we know who gets the calls to go in their favor or not. I guess that's the advantage to being a superstar. Aaron Rodgers has gotten a couple of that kind of action over the years, but anyway, we'll get to that one later. Right now we're looking at the Lions -11 versus the Tennessee Titans. Bradley, come on, man.
They had a fire sale. They're giving up on their season already, so they've shipped off all kind of defensive guys, couple offensive linemen. To Hopkins, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, dude, that they're going to get murdered.
Yeah, and Calvin Ridley's out with an injury too. So Jared Goff, I think, is going to cover that 11. Just because they're playing at a really high level anyway. But the Titans definitely are. Not only are the fire sale only halfway through the thing, but they're just losing people. I used to be scared of them every week, man, because I was looking at Calvin Ridley, I was looking at Hopkins and Boyd and Pollard as a running back, and even Levis couldn't quite get together, but they were always a little scary with that type of weapons. Now they don't have. So I'm liking that one a lot. I know it's a lot. That's the most that's the biggest handicap we've taken -11 all year, but we are liking it after looking at it. And here's another one that my brother will go ahead and elaborate on. I think he likes this one probably the best of the year. Or not year, of the week of the year. They got the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Giants. With your boy over there, and mine too. We know what's up. The old Seattle player.
Game.
The old Seattle, our quarterback. Russell Wilson.
Yeah. The only, and what's their name's defensive line has been getting to quarterbacks, but
they have.
I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think the defensive line. That's the only strength that the Giants have this year. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Russell can adjust and he gets the ball out quickly.
Najee Harris is still one of the most powerful backs. I mean, I think he has a little bit of a rib issue, but you were making mention of their other running back that's doing good over there, and he'll probably play. But the other guy for Pittsburgh, Warren, right? Yeah,
he looked like himself. He'd been out for the first 2 games. He didn't look very good, and then all of a sudden, he looked like his old self last week against a very good defense.
And we already know.
In fact, I think he had more yards than Najee last week. So
Daniel Jones just doesn't have any weapons over there. They have a defense, but they're not going to stop Pittsburgh from winning their game. I don't think so at all.
They benched him in that Philadelphia game. They benched Daniel Jones in the fourth quarter with the 28-3 loss to the Eagles.
There you go. He doesn't have a lot going on there. That defense is not going to be able to win the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look at the Steelers defense. That's, we can't forget to look at the other side when we're looking at defenses when we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's for sure. And then we had some bonus rounds that my brother really likes the -9 against the Cleveland Browns. I really like the Jets -7 this week to bounce back big time against the interdivision Patriots team. And then we also, I'm not sure if my brother agrees with me completely. He can let me know whether he does or not. But the Commanders, I like +2.5 against the Bears, although I think that's just a tough pick. I'm not even sure if I should include it, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there.
That's probably the toughest game of the week, Jeff. I agree.
It's pretty tough. I mean, I'm looking.
pick 'em.
That's one of my favorite games of the week to watch.
It's like flipping a coin. Pick your poison, man. Either one of those teams we know
Yeah,
can win, but we're going with
bet.
Washington this week.
And if we would have taken we were looking at the Eagles last week, Jets versus top 5, so we would have went 4 for 5 last week and 5 for 5 the week before, 3-5, 3-5 before that, and then the first week we were 4 for 5. Second week we were 3 for 5. So we're right there where we need to be on the year. We're hoping that we're a little bit over halfway through, and we're trying to get there right now. We're trying to get that number. We're looking at Circa. We're looking at what they're doing just to see, just for fun, whether we had gotten into that kind of. We're looking pretty good though so far. Still got a long ways to go, and the handicapping has been tough this year, man. There's a lot of surprises every week, injuries, and star players being out, changes, and coaches. I mean, it's a musical chairs.
And referees with their flag happy selves in almost every.
Or not throwing a flag when you're in the end zone, and Darnold could have had another drive with a minute. I don't know if he would, but he could. It's still a minute, and he should have gotten that last drive. I will give him that. I can see why he was upset. I can see why.
Let's talk about the referees in that game. I turned that game off early in with about 10 minutes left in the second quarter because they had already thrown 8 pre-snap penalties against the front lines of both teams. Yeah. And it wasn't even fun to watch. It was like, come on. And some of them were ticky-tack on either side. It was like, dude, right. I turned the game off.
Yeah. Well, that's why we use the term big time wrestling. Everybody knows what's up. And any devout NFL fan that's been watching the NFL for a long, we know what's up. We don't know how or why or how they do it or this and that, but you can definitely, I don't know how they figure it out. I don't know if they're on the headsets.
I don't know how they pay those guys. I don't know. They can't put it straight.
I don't know if they pay them or not, but it is pretty suspicious. Let's put it.
They're not giving them a check, I know, but
just for the record, I wish they were giving me half of that.
The Internal Revenue Service should look very closely at that group of zebras and check for offshore accounts. That's for sure.
Yeah, on the headset with New York. Yeah, hey, what's up? But anyway, this is a good week. We're looking forward to sharing this week with you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, commenting. Although there's not a whole lot of that, we know we'll ramp up. Check our numbers out. How we've been doing this year, our percentages. That's the main reason we're putting this out there. So anyway, Brad, peace out in the black hole over there, wherever you're at.
All right.
Happy Halloween, my friend. All right. Catch you next week.
Bye.
Peace.